Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's ItzMariaVicz and I hope that you guys are doing wonderful, God blessed and God driven. So this is way long overdue, but this is my goals video for 2026 and a wrap up of my 2025 goals, which I actually forgot to get my agenda out for this, but I usually do this within the last couple of weeks of the past year, or I reflect on this in the first weeks of the year. But now by the time that you guys see this is probably gonna go up by end of February, so apologies on that, but I did just want to do this video because it's long overdue, like I said, and I've been slacking or whatever, but hopefully everything can be closed. I can give you guys a run through of the 2025 goals from my previous agenda and the new goals that I have for 2026 in my new agenda. So without further ado, I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and you keep returning to my videos to kind of keep up with what I do. And for this video, because you guys know I do have two channels, I'll post my other one somewhere here on the screen. For that channel, because it's more finance related, I will be going over my finance goals on that one. For this video and for this channel, we'll just be focusing on the closeout of 2025 personal goals and obviously what I look forward to doing with those same goals or adjusted goals in 2026. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on started. So before we close out the 2025 goals, I did just want to mention the 2026 agenda that I'm using. So this is it does have like a glossy overlay here, but this is from an Etsy shop. I will link it downstairs in the description box, but you can get your name customized on here, which is what I did. I just did Maria Victoria because that is my name. So instead of doing like name and last name, I just went ahead and did my first and my second name. And then what I liked about this agenda, or that company, that Etsy shop in general, when they were in Canada, I believe they were in the West Coast. I believe it's somewhere in BC. They were on the West Coast. Either way, I'll have them linked down below. What I did like about them is one, and I'll show you guys briefly here, they did have, I just have something paper clipped on here, but they did have, try to go here so you guys can see, but they did have like different bookmarks that you can get depending on the layout that you wanted. I got mine, I believe, in August of 2025, so I got it pretty early. I ordered it because I figured the later you wait for these things, the more in demand they are, because it's the closing of the year. So I was like, you know what, let me just get thing already done and such. I did go ahead and get they had different layouts, if I'm not mistaken, because I did see so many. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken the company, but again, you guys will see everything that they have downstairs and such. But I did want to get the one that is I'm just hopping to a different week that there's no notes and such, so you guys can get a clean view. But I did just have the horizontal view, so you have Monday through Friday all the way on this page. You have Saturday and Sunday in more condensed boxes here, a little note section here. And what I liked about this one is that it has like a little quote of the week, so I've been enjoying those whenever I remember to look at those during the beginning of the week, so that's been nice. And then what else it has, as you guys can probably imagine, at the beginning of the month, so this is a brand new tab, this would be for August for example, as a blank grid page, so in case you want to do like your drawings or extra notes or whatnot, you could line piece of paper, and then when you flip the page, it has the calendar view in horizontal. And then you also have, there's something else, am I tripping? Yeah, sorry, at the beginning of the month before the tab, it does have like a little space here that you can do like with a drawing, or if you like doing your monthly spreads here, you can like kind of decorate with stickers and whatnot, and then you can go ahead and add important dates and such. So that's the planner that I'm using for my personal stuff. And then, as you guys know, is if you guys are in tune to my other channel, I do have an A5 binder. So beforehand, I was putting all my work, my personal and my finance related things in one agenda. I decided to move away from that because it was just a little bit too much clutter. I do have an A5 setup binder, which I do use for my finances. I'll post that somewhere here. It's also on my other channel, but I did just go ahead and make a video setting it up, so I'll leave that somewhere here so you guys can refer to it. Yeah, let's go ahead and, oh, and I did forget to mention, it does have, I have some things in there, so I'm not gonna exactly show you guys, but it does have like sleeves at the back, so you can put like important documents and such. And then at the back of the agenda, it does have several pages of line paper in case you want like additional notes and stuff. And then I believe that's it. Yeah, that's basically it. And then it does have some important dates that you can highlight, or you can just look at the, you know, the following year and the current year, so 2026 and 2027. There you can highlight those things there if you would like. And yeah, before we get into the goals for 2026, let's go ahead and close out 2025 personal, interpersonal, health, and those type of goals. So as you guys know, what I did at the mid check-in point of the year for 2025, I did go ahead and do a mid-year check-in. So in case I needed to modify the goals or keep them the same or whatever, I did have that option. So for example, if I noticed that, let's say that my goal for the year was to lose 20 pounds and midway through the year, so 6 months in, let's say that I had lost nothing or I had only lost 2, realistically speaking, 6 months later I wouldn't lose the remaining 18. You get what I'm saying? So the mid-year checking section was for that. But let's go ahead and close this section. So for my interpersonal, my health, and my socializing goals, let's go through the random goals first, which was to read 2 books during the year. As you guys know, I've said this before, I don't like reading, but I know it's good for me. Just like sometimes exercise, you don't want to do it. I personally love exercise, but some people don't want to do it no matter how healthy it is for them. They know it's good for them, but they still choose not to. That's kind of like reading for me. I know it's good for me, for my mind, for my vocabulary development and stuff like that. Even as an adult, you benefit from that, and I just don't like reading. So nonetheless, I did read one book, which was actually written by my brother-in-law, and it's called El Poder de la Liberación by Harry Galvez. So I read that, and I forgot to write the date of when I finished it, but I did finish that, and it was a relatively short book. Maybe that's why I was able to finish it. I think it was like 120 pages, and I finished like 3/4 of that within like one sitting, or within like 2 days. And then after that, I just kind of got lazy. I got busy with life and such, and then 2 weeks later, that's when I finished the last little bit. But yeah, that was at the beginning whenever he published that, but I did finish it within 2 weeks of, you know, us getting. And then the other random goals were find a modeling agency or acting agency or background agency for my daughter. I did not end up doing that. I did do some research on it, but it didn't go through in terms of like me actually contacting them and such. So that's that for those random goals. For the mid-year check-in, I'm gonna go through social first, because those are the ones, social and hobbies / other, because those ones are like the shorter categories. At the mid-year check-in, I did write in to prioritize weekly outings, even if it's just by yourself. However, with others, plan ahead of time. So with that, I would say I got a little bit better towards Q3 of 2025, because I did do this mid-year check-in in June, and the third quarter, because this was fresh in my mind, I think I was better able to kind of prioritize that goal. I did make plans with some friends of mine who also have kids. I did make plans with other friends of mine who don't have kids, but you know, they are free because they're not employed, or they have flexible schedules for work and such. And so I was able to do that. But towards Q4, that's something that I kind of slacked on. I think it's just not the laziness, but I just kind of got overwhelmed with whether work or life or whatnot, and so I just kind of stopped trying. Something that I definitely want to prioritize the most I can, even if it's just once or twice a month, that I do prioritize going out with other people. But I did do several outings here and there with just myself. My mom would come over to watch the kids if my husband wasn't home and such, and then I would just skedaddle and do my thing. Whether that meant going to a Tim Hortons and like getting a coffee for myself, or that was me going on a walk literally by myself, it is what it is. But I ended up doing that a little bit less in Q4. So that's something that I'll keep in mind for, yeah, for this year in general. I am filming this on February 17th, so a little bit late, but it is what it is. And then here for my hobbies and other category, I said if time and resources align and you can do a drop-in, go to the wellness center and do it. And then here it also said to still make effort to find background agent, which I did not do. But a comment on the first section, I did enroll my daughter into her swimming lessons, so I did do that, and that's obviously at her age group. I do have to be with her in the pool, so I did do that. It's something that I booked my time for, and so I was able to do that every week. Once a week I did go to her swimming lessons with her, of course, and then she successfully passed and everything, so she's actually able to go to like another group, another scale group, where she can actually be in the pool by herself, but with an instructor, of course, and age similar kids. So that's gonna be the next step, I suppose. I just haven't had the time to do that for this year, and we're also looking to move, and so I wouldn't want to enroll her in some classes and then in a month we'll be moving, but yet I paid for like 3 months. Had I known that we weren't going to be moving by like now, so by February, I would have even done like a 3-month course. So January, February, and March would be taken care of, and even if we miss the last couple of weeks of March, it is what it is. But obviously you don't know these things before they happen. So yeah, and then at the end of the year, actually the last week of the year, I had like some free coupons, free drop-in coupons that I could use towards the wellness center, and so I did that. I went by myself to go swimming, and that was wonderful because I love swimming. If you guys don't know me, I personally think that swimming is the best type of sport cardio wise that you can do for your body, because in the water, your like water is more dense than air, so obviously it takes more pressure and more effort to get through the water, through that medium, yet it's more buoyant than obviously you're floating in water versus if you're running or jogging or whatever it is that you do outside. So it's easier on the joints. So I've always said that swimming is the best. If you don't know how to swim, I encourage you guys to make it the goal for 2026 because swimming is just the best and so healthy for you. So yeah, and it's so refreshing too, especially in the summer. Are you kidding me? And it's also a safety thing, not even about the fun thing. Like, it's a safety thing. If you have bodies of water in your country or in your town or whatever, learn how to swim. Super dangerous if you don't. But yeah, that about wraps it up. I do want to encourage myself to kind of do those drop-ins, even if I can, like only once a week for half an hour. The wellness center is not that far from my house, and so I would love to do that, but we'll see how that goes for this year and what I say in my 2026 goals. Now for my mid-year check-in for the health and the weight related goals, I will have to refer to my Remfo health app, and that's an app that I have connected to my scale. It's the same company and such, and so I'm able to do that. Let me go ahead and check my history on weights and stuff. So at the beginning of 2025, my January 1st weight was, and I don't mind sharing these numbers, I've never been shy to share numbers, but I did want to keep it until the end of this video, but until the end of the year to share them. But in January 1st, I was 218.6 pounds, and in the mid-year check-in, which was July 19th, I was 219.4 pounds. Now I will say that I did right here, my lowest was 215.4, yet my highest was 222.2. So I actually was constantly up and down in weight. So technically I did lose by September 19th. I wrote here that I had lost 11 pounds, almost actually almost 12 pounds, because I dropped all the way to 206 pounds. That was in September 19th. And then my highest weight was actually 222. So technically from my beginning of the year weight in, that was 218, and my lowest that I had gotten was 207. Now the highest that I had gotten in the year was 222. So 222 minus 207, that's actually 15 pounds that I had lost during the year from my highest to my lowest. Now I hadn't been writing it into my agenda, but let's see what my lowest weight was in December. In December of 2025, specifically December 29th, I was 210 pounds. So I was actually 8.6 pounds less than my original goal weight, which technically does that mean that I lost the 10 pounds from beginning of the year to the end of the year. I technically lost a weight, a net weight of 8 pounds, but obviously from my highest point of the year to my lowest, again, I'm just gonna prioritize that. So I did technically lose 15 pounds despite gaining an additional 3 back. It is what it is, kind of life fluctuates like that, right? And weight is not something that's very consistent for obvious reasons, and especially if you're a mom. Not that that's an excuse, and I don't want to make it an excuse, because a lot of moms have it way harder than me in terms of like how many kids they have to take care of, or like extracurriculars and like after school programs and stuff, and they still make it work. But you know, sometimes life affects us differently, and that's not to shame myself or to raise or elevate other people, but honestly, if you can do it, then great. If you can't, that's okay too. So that's it for my 2025 close of the 2025 goals, I should say, for my health, my personal, and my socializing goals. Now let's get into our 2026 goals. Now you guys will notice I have everything for my 2026 goals in one page, including my finance. I did highlight them differently because I didn't notice the page layout for the agenda before writing these in, and so I just went in and like did everything on one page, highlighted everything, and then hopefully that makes sense and I can just come to this for that. But anyways, for my 2026 health, family, and I guess other goals, I guess we'll see how those are categorized in my list, because I wrote these back in January 3rd of 2026. So I'm gonna go over health first, so everything that's highlighted in blue. So for health, I have to lose 10 pounds, and bonus if I lose 10 pounds with some other things that I cannot disclose right now. I want to lose 10 pounds, so my beginning weight, I should write it down here, but my beginning weight, oh my gosh, wrong pen. In 2026, my first weigh-in was, and again, this is after the holidays, so I didn't expect me to be much less than this. It was 212.8. So in theory, by the end of 2026, if God willing, and if I put my effort into it, which I have certain predictions that I will be able to, and I will share with that after, I should be close to 200 pounds, specifically 202. So if I'm able to lose the 10 pounds, if I'm able to lose the 15 pounds, then that would mean that I'm able to get below 200 pounds, and that would be amazing, because as you guys know, I'm not that tall. So health-wise and BMI-wise, I should be less than. I think I should be, my range for my height and my age, I should be like 150 or 160. Actually, I think I technically should be 120 or 130. However, I'm not somebody who wants to be like super skinny and stuff. I do want to have some meat in my bones, and obviously that comes with muscle, that comes with fat, etc. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just wrote in my beginning weight, and I actually should write in my beginning BMI, which that I won't disclose because people are so silly to compare. But anyways, and let me actually make it all pretty and nice. Let me highlight it, or like resaltarlo. How do I say that? Let me make a little cloud around it so it's nice and visible. Cool. So my next highlighted in blue goal is walk 3 to 4 times a week, which I think I've been pretty consistent. I'm just dictating the goals here, but since I'm literally filming this mid-February, I'm just gonna say how it's been going so far. My walks have been okay. I think I've been doing more like 1 to 2 walks a week, if I even do them that particular week. And I have certain circumstances which I will share later on as to why I haven't been doing all that much, but thankfully some things have changed and I'm able to now a little bit more given certain circumstances that have changed and such, but we'll see. Then it says here to weight lift twice a week, and I'm not saying like heavyweight or anything, but I work from home too with a toddler, so I'm constantly tired. But even if it's just taking some time, like 5 to 10 minutes to like really go in on my weightlifting, even if it's something like I'm sitting on the chair and I'm just doing like lateral raises or like army press and such, let me do that. And then the next health related goal that I have here is to stop. Actually, this is something that I wrote in like closer to the end of January, but I made it a goal for myself, which has been on and off, but I did say for me to stop using my phone between 9:30 to 10 p.m. at night, and that's for me to obviously get better sleep and for me to shut off and be able to enjoy my sleep and just not put in so much of what you see on social media, which lately has not been so positive. But anyways, then for my family goals, which are highlighted in pink, I want to save $50 for a particular fund, which I'm not going to disclose right now, but and then once that money is whatever I don't use of that money, like it's a sinking fund, whatever I don't use by a particular date later down the line, you guys can take your guesses down below, but I will be putting that into the respective savings accounts. And then it also says here monthly date nights with Moses, which is my husband. It's a work in progress. We're all very busy and we're all very just making excuses for ourselves and such, but I do feel like dating is very importante, and so it's something that I want to prioritize. If it's even if it's just once a month, let me do that. And there's another personal goal that I'm not gonna go ahead and share here because I just want to, I guess, share when it's done. Nothing about like family or anything like that in particular. This is just actually for me. Not sure why I had it in pink, but yeah, I'm gonna share that later down the line. Then here I also have to continue searching for a baby agency for my daughter, and so let's see how that goes. Yeah, and then I guess I'll share my other category, which is not too many, but the other ones, which are finance, career, and YouTube goals, I will share on my other channel. But for other, I wrote here that I want to have a background agency for myself if possible. Obviously some of these are more prioritizing in my life than others. For example, things that have to do with my health and my kids would be more important than something that just has to do with my career. Obviously that's just my perspective. Other people will think differently depending on your life circumstances, but obviously if you don't have kids and you're relatively young, maybe you want to focus on your career. But for me, that's just what I'm going through right now and what I would like to do. And then I also have here to read 2 books as usual, so I do still have like my 2 little arrows indicating when I'll read the book and what the title is and such like that. And then I have here to read my Bible daily along with my daily devotionals. So I got for Christmas a Bible that my husband gifted to me, so I got that. And so at the beginning of the year I was really on point with that, along with my devotionals that a friend of mine got me like a little calendar for those, both like a little calendar flip through and then a devotional book. So I was doing those pretty much daily, like not missing a single one, but sometimes life gets in the way and then I do 2 on the same day if I skipped a day or like missed a day by mistake. Lately I've been so tired and emotionally just like not in the right place that I've been actually skipping like whole weeks, and then I have to catch up because I don't like being behind. And so that's that. Looking at this, I think that's everything for my 2026 goals. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that little closeout of 2025 and how my goals went for the end of the year, and also enjoyed the goals that I'm foreseeing to be able to accomplish this time around for 2026. And you guys with time will find out what it is that I'm talking about with like some other goals and such, but you guys will stay tuned for that if you guys subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't done so already, I would super appreciate it and it would make me really, really happy. Yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up and let me know downstairs in the comments if you feel so inclined to do so. Share your goals for 2026, although we are almost done Q1 of 2026. Nonetheless, we can always be accountability buddies and share our thoughts downstairs in the comments. You know, grow this community of how we want to be better for ourselves and be better for others in our family and just be better for God. I hope that one of my goals is also to inspire other people, but obviously this would be more of a silent goal, to inspire other people to reach out and be able to get closer to God. And obviously that's something that is between me and other people, or they just get inspired online and never share that they actually ended up going to church or ended up being closer to God because of my videos. But I hope that, you know, nonetheless, somehow the word gets to you in that way, and if I'm able to be used as a vessel by God, so let that be. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Once again, I hope that you guys learn something from me, just personally speaking. And if you guys, like I said before, if you guys are interested in learning more about my money related goals and just also career and stuff, feel free to subscribe to my other channel, which I'll leave right over here. It's called Maria Talks Money, and if that's the case, that it is up to your liking. I do cash budgeting, I do talk about my budgeting template, and obviously their goals video is going to be going up as well for that channel. So if you guys are looking forward to that and are interested in keeping up with me in that sense, feel free to click somewhere here in the bubble, and hopefully you guys subscribe to the channel there as well. But until then, guys, I hope that you guys stay blessed, stay beautiful, stay wonderful and amazing. I will close you guys off with the verse of the day, which I'll leave right about here. I hope that, you know, this verse touches you and it reaches you in your heart in whatever way it is that you need in this moment. God is able to kind of read through us a lot better than we can ever guess for ourselves. And so I hope that that verse touches you and it really hits a string that you needed to hear for the day. And besides that, I will catch you guys in my next video. And until then, stay awesome, never change, and I'll see you guys next time. Dios los bendiga a todos, ItzMariaVicz.